Meanwhile, there's real world issues around these oil and gas prices right now, and gas prices are still through the roof. I'm curious, let me know in the chat what you guys are paying for different gas prices now, but this affects every American, everyone who has food delivered to their house, goes to a grocery store. Everything that you buy has to be trucked somewhere, and gas has to get it there via these trucks. Now we're learning this morning that oil and gas companies are seeing record profits. Oil and gas companies, record profits, thanks to this latest windfall of a surge in prices.
And now they're saying, well, look, because we have this supply crunch, because we can no longer buy oil from Russia due to sanctions and woke choices, basically, we are going to have to turn back on these pipelines, ramp back up this fracking, environment be damned. It's time. Now, when you really look at who's hurting here, obviously anyone who depends on gasoline in order to run their lives is paying more, and it's hurting their bottom line, businesses and individuals alike. But the fact is that big oil companies are reporting record earnings for 2021. So we dug up some charts, because right now the oil companies will tell you, well, our stocks are down, right? You're hurting and we're hurting, which seems okay in the moment. So I dug up some. Do you have the charts?
I have a lot of charts.
Okay. Look at the one that says, let's go to first Chevron's day chart. Okay. Yes, that one. So, okay, Chevron trading a bit down over the day, right? But look at Chevron over the year.
Of course.
Okay.
All these guys are skyrocketing.
So Chevron, it's hard to feel sorry for them when you break it down by the year. It's record profits. We can repeat this. Look at Shell for the day.
Yeah, Shell's daily chart.
Down, right? Down 0.58% or 1.16%. But look at Shell over the year, right? Oil companies are not hurting. It's you that's hurting. Let's look one more time at BP for the day, trending down. But look at BP for the year, right? Where did R2 come from? Did you hear that?
That's David's cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought that we were punctuating the point, which shows you, right, that prices were skyrocketing long before Russian sanctions were put in place. And the oil companies are not hurting the way that they want you to think, that they're in it with you, right? They have the reserves. They have plenty of money. They do not have to gouge you with these prices. They're choosing to.
And we're still subsidizing them.
Yes. And the government is absolutely allowing these price hikes because it punctuates how you feel like, oh, this war is hurting all of us. We have to be paying more. We don't, right? This is not a natural result of supply and demand. Contrary to what that beautiful TikTok lady said, it is not a natural result of an unperverted economy. So they're saying we need to, sorry, I know the environment's hurting, but we better just produce more, turn back on the pipelines that President Biden turned off, do more fracking.
And OPEC, by the way, of course, last week said there's no shortage of oil. We have plenty of oil. We have tons of oil. In fact, we had a surplus of oil during the pandemic. Remember, so much so that they were having to ask people, they were going to pay people to hold oil barrels at your house. That's how much extra oil we have. So OPEC was saying we have all of this. There's no shortage. Putin has nothing to do with this.
This is
absolutely nothing to do with this mess.
Here's the conspiracy theory. This is where my mind goes, because you guys know how conspiratorial I am. It's like, okay, pharmaceutical industry, during the pandemic, you guys are going to make billions, all right? Gas industry, oil industry, you guys hold tight. We're going to have something coming up for you guys in the next quarter. So, all right, pharmaceutical industry, you're taken care of. Okay, gas companies, get up here. Let's go. We're hiking gas prices. They're like, yes.
You got your windfall. And speaking of windfalls, I love David Dayen's take. He's been a guest here on the show. He's a great writer at the American Prospect. He tweeted this about the idea that, hey, we conducted a real world experiment on whether it works to give people money to handle an economic shock. It was pretty successful. An inflation rebate pegged to oil prices works in a similar fashion. And he wrote about it at the American Prospect. It's an interesting sort of thought piece. We can kind of go through it. But this idea that, hey, if we have a windfall profits tax, it would be an inflation rebate for the American people. And basically, if these companies receive a windfall, well, we then as Americans should be able to get a tax rebate.
Well, this was proposed last week by House Democrats, but it has no chance of going anywhere.
Yeah. He says there's a certain grimness to writing about U.S. public policy these days, in that you have to couch any prescriptions within the realities of our multi-veto point system, as you just pointed out, a status quo preserved in amber. The chair of the Senate Energy Committee, Joe Manchin, appears to think that the electric vehicle drivers have to wait in line for a new battery every time they use up their charge. The expectation of achieving anything useful on going green must be severely downgraded. And he says, basically that in short, this is not a tax, this idea, it's a rebate. The proposed tax just finances this rebate. The bill's sponsors estimate an approximately $240 for every eligible single tax filer, $360 for every eligible joint household. So this gas rebate would phase out at $75,000 in annual income.
But would there even be a profit to tax if they didn't have government subsidies? I don't know how to run those numbers, but I mean, if the government still already subsidizes big oil.
Well, we should be, absolutely. That is one thing we've been calling for on this show for a while, is that we should not be subsidizing these big oil and gas companies. They've been moving, but they're brilliant though. Like BP and these guys, they're brilliant because now they're trying to say that they're moving towards ESG and they're moving towards environmental components, so that now, hey, subsidize me over here. Like if you're going to stop removing me from the oil side with your oil subsidies, well, now we're making solar panels. Now we're making wind farms. So
yes.
You want to subsidize me again?
Which is where this feels a little bit too convenient, right? So just when the environment and the sort of appetite to move to sustainable energy starts to hit a crescendo, now we have a gas crisis, you're paying too much, we have to pump more in order to sustain ourselves. That seems like the wrong answer, rather than double down because we don't have enough when we know that that's not true. No one's saying, well, how about let's double down, like not double down the way politicians do, right? Double down like in a real sense for sustainable energy, but no, that doesn't seem to be happening. There is a litigation group called Client Earth in the UK that intends to sue Shell for not moving towards sustainable energy fast enough, and in fact hold board of directors personally liable. We'll see where that goes. That's just a notice at this point. But a similar case in Denmark just last year did hold Shell responsible for not moving fast enough towards their climate targets, and a judge says you have to step it up. So before that can set precedents around the world, we're all made to think, oh, but there's a supply shortage and we have to pay more, therefore we need more. So that's where my antenna goes up, like, do we really?
If you like this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, we have a membership program. For the price of a cup of coffee once a month, you can support independent journalism just by going to morninginvest.com/join.
You get access to exclusive videos, plus the ability to join and chat with us live. We really appreciate your subscription, and you are supporting independent journalism.